Am I quiet? Turn me up on your end. Oh, because I'm in the woods. No, I just go to town, and I have a battery pack, and it's dead half the time, anyways. Actually, I do have a job. I do go to town to work, so I also charge it when I work. Anyways, that's out of character. Fuck. 1 second. Nah, whatever. Fuck it. Fuck. Oh, okay. 2 week tale. So, over the weekend, before I realized what had happened, what crimes Godwinson was, what plots he was getting up to, with my kids in mind, I was thinking of taking a break from everything, but so I deactivated that account, and then I sort of just went outside. I got a good beat on some awesome. I got a great deal friend rates on some ice. Did that with more friends, and had a really productive weekend. I'm done with chapter 3 of the book I'm writing, and like everything was fine. It was a bit like weird. I was a little bit paranoid throughout all of it, which I'm usually not a very paranoid guy, but it was just there. I guess things were on my mind, and day 3, which was Wednesday, no, Tuesday, I was in the danger zone because I know at that point I started getting a little bit loopy. So Wednesday came around and I was like, all right, I'm just going to go to my campsite, move it, because I wanted to move it from where it was, and then crash. Well, that didn't exactly happen. I did move my campsite, although I had to find it again later. And for a while, I don't actually have any memory of what happened before it started to get dark. But for almost about 2 hours, I was out there. I assume I'd moved my campsite, but I think I spaced out. Because I remember standing in front of it, although I couldn't remember where that was, late, in the middle of things. And I was standing in front of it, and I didn't know how long I'd been standing there, but I was freezing. I had my gloves on. I knew I'd just been standing there. I looked around, and nothing was going on, and the sun was starting to set. I was like, okay, I don't know what I spaced out about, but I'm still here. I should just go to sleep. Right? Obvious. Sun starts to set. I finish setting up my little campsite, and right, and I see a sheriff drive by like 5 or 6 times because I can see the highway from their last spot. I can kind of hear in the distance too. Still, not that far away right now, but I see that, and I don't think, and I something gets me on about it. It's like, okay, I tell myself, if nothing happens in 20 minutes, nobody cares. They're not coming up here. Don't worry about it. It's nothing. Sun starts to set, and swears God is my witness. Even though I later confirmed, well, swears God is my witness. I see flashlights. I see flashlights, like 4 or 5 flashlights, coming downhill towards me, moving, shaking. I don't hear any radio chatter. I don't hear any voices. And when you're camping like this, I know that the sheriffs, law enforcement, or park rangers, they have to announce their presence. You can't just approach somebody. And it's generally, legally for them, they have to. Because otherwise, if you wig out and they get shot at, you can get away with that. And that's why. Because you don't know either. And it's generally, common courtesy in a red state where you've been camping that you announce your presence so that people don't wig out on you. That they know, oh, you're just another hiker. Hi, hello, you're friendly, because the alternative could get bad. But they don't say anything. They're just approaching. I don't say anything. And I don't know what they're doing on the scene. So I quickly stuff one of my bags, grab my hatchet, and I move sideways up the hillside, kind of dodging them. And they're going slowly towards my campsite. And I'm watching them. And I don't know what's going on, and I don't hear voices. I don't hear them talking. I hear a couple sticks breaking. But then, given the area I'm in, that kind of just happens anyways. I think, okay, I don't know what this is. I don't know if it actually has to do with me. I don't know if it's all right. Just get the fuck out of there. So I did. Um, Nearly slipped and fell several times trying to get down one of the back roads. And of course, when it's dark and you're just kind of moving because of the way things were, I couldn't turn on my light. So I didn't know whether or not there were any tracks in the ground. Had they driven up there? Were they totally different people? Were the people just getting back to town and going the wrong way? You know? So I consider, okay, my camp, look, if it gets, and I figured, okay, I'll come back later. If my stuff's still there and untouched, who cares? If it's trashed, it's somebody else, because the cops don't trash your stuff generally. And they usually don't go through it unless, like, they have a reason to. Um, South Dakota, the national forest land is homesteading land. So if you have a campsite, it has to be treated like if it were your house. So if you're camping in national forest, they can't just rummage through your stuff unless they have probable cause. It's the same as like you have the same Fourth Amendment protections that you would if you were anywhere else. I don't know if it's the whole country, but I think you also have those protections for most hotel rooms. Depending, like the low rent ones, the ones that charge weekly rates are considered a living space. After a month, you get those rights. But anyways, so I make it out of there. I get down back to the general city area. You can actually see part of in one of my videos. I don't see any sheriff's vehicles parked around there. Which, like, if they parked at the bottom of this hill and walked up instead of driving it, that would make sense. But there were no vehicles parked there at all. So I thought, okay, probably not them. But it could be a third party. It's like, all right, maybe are the people hunting after me? Maybe. I don't really know for certain. I don't have concrete information. And my imagination gets to work, and I'm trying to think, okay, who knows who I'm going like, who knows I'm camping there? Who could have seen me? And like I'm running it through my head, and I'm not sure because I've been high for a few days. Although I also haven't been there for a few days, so it could have been recent. It could have been built up. It could have been trying to find me to say hi. It could have been friendly, or it could have just been like, hey, maybe you're too close to town, maybe you're this or that, whatever. But that's not when my brain's working right now. I'm freezing. The sun is set. High out of my mind. I figure it's better to just duck out of there and find out later, or find out from someone else. So I had clear across town, hatch it out, kind of just. Well, I mean, yeah. Well, I was in town and I was zigging, zagging in our town, because it's easy to kind of get through town without anybody seeing you, as small as it is. Um, I holster my hatchet and I would just kind of walk normally, just so nobody would think I was suspicious any more than they already do. I made it clear across town, and I go up by the viaduct up to another little up to the bench, which I've taken photos of, and I swear to God, I see a cop up there. I see a parked sheriff car. I see headlights. I see a guy looking around with a flashlight. I think, okay, they're after me. Like, because they're checking all the places that people like would know to look for me in this town that I usually go to or hang out with, and it's like they could get that information from people who don't really like me, or who we were okay because I'm a pretty open guy. I don't really hide too much, or like I tell people about where I'm going. So if I have you, so that you create like a pattern where like, oh, here's all the usual spots, here's where you can find me, so that I know who knows what, and so I just break pattern if I feel anything's coming up. I see this, I duck back, head back across the viaduct, I'm up on top of the hill and I chill there, and I say, okay, I'll just watch the town. I watch the town, and I was up there for like an hour, just laying back, and I hear all these geese, and the geese have come back for the summer. They've come back early. Usually they don't come back until April. But they've come back, and they're making a fuck ton of noise. Because when they come back, it's also their mating season, so it's also their fighting season. So they are up by this lake. They are fucking and fighting constantly. like literally incessantly all day long. It is an insane racket. And people will be out there and feed them and hang and see them. That's a flight. Never mind. But I keep seeing this light shine behind me, and I don't know what it is. And I keep looking behind me, nothing, anything's there. And then I hear a voice. I hear someone just kind of mumbling, and it seems like he's talking to no one. And I think he's talking to the geese. And I look around, and I could swear I see like an old guy. Oh, I didn't see him yet. I heard him, and it looked like there was just some. I thought it sounded like some old dumb guy out there feeding the geese, riling them up. And it's like, okay, maybe he doesn't know I'm there. Maybe he didn't see me. I look around for a bit. I don't see anybody. I don't see like a flashlight waving around. So I was like, okay, whatever. It's probably something else. I sit there for an hour, watch the sheriff go to and fro, and it looks like, and it genuinely, the way he's driving around the town, it looks like he's going and checking places where I would be, based on where he's driving. Although he's not taking a lot of time there. So I'm really not certain. Like, okay, I got to go talk to somebody. I got to go talk to somebody who'd absolutely know for a fact and could tell me. So I go to one of my friends. I'm going to drop names. I'm not going to drop any names for now. So I head back across the viaduct. When I turn and I could swear there was an old man out there in a coat feeding them. Maybe there was. I don't know. But I sort of see him. He doesn't seem to be paying me any mind. He's a lot farther away than I originally thought. But I was like, okay, whatever. That's irrelevant. I move on. I go back up towards the graveyard, towards the bench spot, which is not the graveyard. I see that guy still there. It's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. I know I've seen the sheriff driving around. That's not him unless there's like a group out. And it's like the time doesn't make sense and things aren't making sense to me. So I approach. I draw my axe and I approach. I think, okay, it's not the first time, but maybe this will be the next time. I approach and I approach and I approach, and I realize there's no car there. And the light that I'm seeing is actually the radio tower by the graveyard. So it's like, oh, okay, that's fine. So I relax a bit, and I know the voices I'm hearing are people partying up on a deck on one of the houses nearby, and I can see that. And they have no idea I'm there. So I just kind of start steadily strolling throughout towards the graveyard, and even though the grass is dead, everything looks very green. It looks suddenly like it was green again, like it looked like it would be summer. And then there's this sudden motion, and it freaks me out when I see, like, I don't know, 15, 20 deer run past me. And in a reaction, I shout at them, with my axe still out. And then I stop, and they're gone, because, they'll just do that anyways. There's lots of deer in the area. And it's quiet again, and I'm standing there. Like, what the fuck is going on? I ask myself. What am I doing? And I stop, and I don't know how long I stand there, but I kind of space out again. And then I keep moving. And I keep moving, and I get to the graveyard. I hear a car engine, which I'm not sure was a car engine. I think it might have just been a generator on somebody's house. So I try to put that out of my mind. And I'm heading towards the graveyard, and in the graveyard, I swear, there's this black creature, long, stringy limbs, like a plant-like creature. In the middle of the graveyard, its head was a giant light, like an eye, like a lantern eye, I would describe it as. And it was staring at me. And the graveyard was beautiful. It was snowing, and everything was just covered in this perfect sheen of snow. It was the right level of wind. It actually, in that moment, reminded me of the ending scene of the ending run of It's a Wonderful Life. And I thought, Jesus Christ. And it was like that moment, and I'm still staring at this creature. I'm thinking, okay, this is a psychotic episode. This is happening. But I have to make sure. I have to know for certain. So I give a good round about the graveyard, because I don't want to go near or anywhere that creature. And then I see at my friend's house, looks like 2 cars parked out front. I think, fuck. It is happening. And then I takes me a minute, and I gather myself, and I say, okay, get closer, see the lights from a different angle. And as I approached, they weren't car lights. They were just lined up that way. They were house lights. They were window lights. And at that angle, you see the lights in the darkness, and your mind creates the rest. You really don't want to be this level of tripping in this area. But I need to. It is the grace of God that I didn't interact with anybody that I didn't know or like, because I might have killed somebody in my state of mind. So I holster my axe again, and I stroll down the road. Oh, thank you for your expert advice, Rachel. But yeah, not really, not not totally. There are parts. You know what? There are parts. People will tell you what is and isn't, but most of it's fine. But that's beside the point. So I slowly walk down the street, and I kind of realize it's starting to dawn on me what the fuck I'm doing, and I just start feeling like I cannot, and I'm beating myself up in my head and trying to keep that out of my head, and I finally get to his door, and I answer, and he answers it. He answers it. He's a little bit scared because I have that axe still, and he's like, "Man, I was," because other stuff happened earlier where we were yelling at each other and shit over something else. He's like, "Man, I wasn't really mad at you. I'm not pissed off at you. You're not really." And I'm like, no. And I said, like, can I come in for a minute? I'm freezing. He's like, yeah. And I come in. I was like, can I talk to you in the other room? Because his ex-wife was there, and she doesn't need to know any of this shit. Go in there, and I explain to him what the fuck's been happening. And he's like, okay, man, okay. He's like, okay, calms me down because I'm starting to get frantic. Just giving him, I started to tell him. He's like, okay, no, you're cool. You're staying here tonight. Come out, have a cigarette, chill out, warm up, go get some sleep. I'm like, thank you. And he's like, no, everything. He told me nothing. Everything's fine. Relax. You told me no. You're tweaking the fuck out. Come down, sit down, relax. And I did. had a cup of coffee, a light cup of coffee, just because I needed something warm. A couple cigarettes. Sat there, watched an episode of Weeds, and kept an eye on me. And after a little bit, I just kind of went to bed. And that was that. Woke up 12 hours later. He asked me if I was all right. Gave me more coffee and smokes. Loaded me up today, actually, because he knows I'm out. And hell, the rolly stuff what he's been rolling, I bought him with tobacco for, anyways. So, yeah. Yeah, the moral of the story is never go more than 2 days. Fuck because I was on day 4, night 3, and I really have to not let it hit that point anymore if I do it again. Because before that I was fine. I was a bit moody, which I'm normally not, but I was also work crazy. It was overall productive, but I don't need that shit to be going through my head right now. Not in the woods, not in my current living situation. Or if I'm going to do it, I need to be around people and socializing and in a good mood. It's like any substance. It's not like it changes you. It just exasperates what's going on, in your head. And I was just feeling moody and yeah, it made everything negative. And I woke up in the morning. I felt like such a fucking idiot. Yeah. Yeah, so I just gotta come down. I've been really achy and tired, although I got some food. That calm down. Maybe you don't. But once I'm done coming down, I'm feeling a bit more spry in maybe one or 2 more days. That Godwinson guy, that son of a bitch, he's gonna get it. Threatening to call. Oh yeah. Or a video. I don't think I can stream mobile, or I have to find a way around it. I don't remember how to do that. No, I'm gonna do it. No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it my way. And he's gonna. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He doesn't know what he's fucking messing with. You hear that, Adam? I'm coming for you!